Every single morning, millions of people across the world open their eyes to the same reality. The alarm clock rings, cutting through their dreams like a blade, pulling them out of a state of rest and throwing them into the cycle of yet another day.
The sound is not just a call to wake up, it is a reminder. A reminder that yesterday's routine has not ended. It has simply paused for a few hours, and now it demands to be resumed again. Think about it. The majority of people wake up not because they want to, but because they have to. The alarm clock dictates their first decision of the day. Their body might crave more sleep. Their mind might long for peace, but obligation pulls them from bed. They do not rise because the morning fills them with excitement. They rise because if they don't, they risk being late to work, late to meetings, late to the endless treadmill that society has set before them. The morning rituals are almost identical. Wash up, get dressed, coffee, maybe breakfast if there's time. Then comes the commute, the crowded buses, the honking traffic, the suffocating subway cars packed with tired faces. Look around in those moments. You will see eyes staring blankly, headphones drowning out reality, bodies moving automatically, without joy, without presence. Every face you encounter tells the same silent story. This is not where I want to be, but this is where I must be. And then comes the office, the workplace, the factory, the store, the arena of labor. The place where people trade away the hours of their life for a paycheck. Hours that can never be reclaimed, exchanged for tasks that often carry no deeper meaning for them. They work not out of passion, but out of necessity. They do not feel alive in those hours, they feel trapped. Like gears in a machine, their role is to keep turning, day after day, while the larger system benefits from their exhaustion. By the time evening arrives, the body is drained, energy gone, ambitions postponed, dreams pushed to tomorrow. There is barely enough strength left to eat, to scroll aimlessly through a phone screen, or to sit in front of a television. Finally, sleep comes again, not as rest, but as escape. And in a few short hours, the alarm clock will tear through the silence once more, dragging them into the same loop they swore they would one day break. This cycle is not just routine, it is a cage. It is what many call the rat race. The rat race is not a literal race, but it feels like one. Every day, people run faster, yet go nowhere. They strive to keep up with bills, with obligations, with expectations. They run because everyone else is running. They run because slowing down feels dangerous. They run because they fear what will happen if they stop. Yet no matter how far or how fast they go, the finish line never appears. The treadmill only speeds up, demanding more time, more energy, more of their life. What makes the rat race so dangerous is not just the repetition, but the illusion of normalcy. People begin to believe this is how life is supposed to be, that the purpose of existence is to survive the week, to wait for the weekend, to find fleeting moments of relief before Monday returns. They convince themselves that someday it will all be worth it, that after enough years of running, there will be rest, reward, and freedom. But deep down, there is a gnawing truth, that someday may never come. And the cruelest part, most people do not even realize they are in the trap. They mistake the alarm clock for life's natural rhythm. They mistake routine for stability. They mistake exhaustion for productivity. They do not see the invisible cage around them because everyone else around them lives in the same cage. If everyone is trapped, then surely it must be normal, right? But deep down, a question remains. A whisper inside the mind of every tired commuter, every weary worker staring at the clock, every soul that feels the emptiness of repetition. Is this all there is? That whisper, though faint, is powerful. It is the first spark of awareness, the first sign that maybe, just maybe, this endless cycle is not the only way to live. Awakening in the trap does not mean immediate escape. It means opening your eyes to the truth of where you are. It means admitting that the routine is not just routine, it is a prison. And once you see the bars, you can never unsee them. Once you recognize the cage, you cannot help but wonder what lies beyond it. The alarm clock, the commute, the workday, and the exhaustion are not signs of a fulfilled life, but symptoms of captivity. It begins when you allow yourself to ask that forbidden question. What if there's more than this?
At first glance, modern life seems to be overflowing with choices. Coffee or tea, car or train, Netflix or YouTube. Thousands of tiny decisions fill each day, giving the impression that people are in control, that they are free. But look closer, and the illusion begins to crack. Beneath the surface of all these micro-decisions lies a deeper truth. Most of the big, life-defining choices have already been made. Not by the individual, but by the system that surrounds them. From the earliest years, the path is laid out. Children are told to go to school, get good grades, move on to college, find a stable job, buy a house, take out a mortgage, pay taxes, and eventually retire. It is presented not as an option, but as the only path that makes sense. Parents, teachers, and society at large reinforce it with the same message. Follow the steps, stay on the track, and everything will be fine. Stray too far from it, and you risk judgment, criticism, or even failure. And so most people comply, not because they consciously choose it, but because they never truly knew there were alternatives. This is the illusion of choice. The idea that because you can pick between different brands of cereal at the supermarket, you are free. That because you can select a career from a limited set of socially acceptable roles, you are in control. But the framework itself, the boundaries of what is considered normal, is not chosen by you. It is handed down, shaped by culture, reinforced by tradition, and protected by those who benefit from the status quo. Think of it like a maze. A rat in a maze may believe it is exploring freely, taking left turns or right turns at will. But in truth, the walls of the maze dictate where it can go. The rat may never question the maze itself because the maze is invisible to its perception of choice. Humans are no different. They celebrate small freedoms while ignoring the structure that limits their true potential. For example, consider careers. A young person might feel they are choosing their future when they decide to become a lawyer, an engineer, or a teacher. But beneath that decision lies a set of unspoken rules. That success equals a paycheck, that respect comes from job titles, that working 40 hours a week until retirement is simply what adults do. No one tells them that success could mean freedom, or that respect could come from self-mastery, or that there are ways of living outside the 9-to-5 structure. The choice is limited to paths inside the maze, never outside of it. Money reinforces this illusion. People believe they are making financial choices, what to buy, what to save, what to invest in. But often, these decisions are reactions to debts, obligations, and costs that were never really optional. The mortgage, the car loan, the student debt, these chains dictate where money goes long before a person has the freedom to allocate it meaningfully. What appears as choice is often just managed necessity. And necessity, when repeated endlessly, begins to feel like destiny. Advertising and media deepen the illusion. Billboards, commercials, and social feeds constantly whisper, "Buy this and you'll be happy. Choose this product and you'll feel free." But freedom is not found in brands, and happiness is not hidden in the latest gadget. These are distractions, designed to keep people focused on consumption rather than questioning the larger system. A person might believe they are expressing individuality by choosing one brand of phone over another, but in truth, both choices still keep them tethered to the same cycle of earning, spending, and wanting more.
The insidious part of the illusion is that it disguises itself as progress. Society tells us that we are freer than any generation before us. After all, we have more products, more entertainment, more opportunities to customize our lives. But ask yourself, does choosing between 50 streaming services make you truly free? Does scrolling through hundreds of job postings, most of which still demand you sacrifice your time and energy for someone else's gain, give you real control over your destiny? Or is it just a bigger menu at the same restaurant with the same meals served in slightly different packaging? And yet, the illusion is comforting. People want to believe they are in control. They cling to the idea that their lives are the result of their own decisions. To admit otherwise is unsettling. It means admitting that much of what they call choice is actually conditioning, that the majority of their life was not carefully designed by them, but scripted long before they could understand the script. This is why so many stay in the rat race, because questioning the illusion of choice is frightening. If the system is rigged, if the options are false, then what remains? What if stepping off the path leads to chaos, to risk, to rejection? The unknown beyond the maze seems scarier than the comfort of familiar walls. So people convince themselves, this is fine. I am choosing this. This is my life. They silence the small voice that dares to ask, but is it really yours? Awakening to the illusion of choice is painful but necessary. It requires honesty. It demands that you look at your life and ask, did I choose this, or was this chosen for me? Do I live this way because it is what I want, or because it is what I was told to want? These are not easy questions, but they are the first cracks in the illusion's armor. Once you begin to question, the walls of the maze become visible. And once you see the maze, you cannot pretend it doesn't exist. The truth is that real choice is rare, but it is possible. It exists in moments of courage, in decisions that defy convention, in risks that others warn against. Real choice is not about picking from the options laid out by the system, but about stepping outside the system altogether. It is about rejecting the false dichotomies of career paths, the debt-driven lifestyle, the endless cycle of earn and spend. It is about asking what you want, not what the world wants from you. Most people will never take this step. They will continue to run the race, comforted by the illusion that they are choosing to run. But a few will pause, look around, and realize that the race itself is optional. That the greatest choice they can make is not which lane to run in, but whether to keep running at all. And that realization changes everything.
The rat race is exhausting, relentless, and deceiving. It convinces people that running endlessly is the only way forward, that the cycle of work, bills, and waiting for weekends is the unavoidable price of survival. But there is a truth that few dare to accept. The race is not mandatory. The circle is not unbreakable. There is a way out, though it is not easy, not comfortable, and not without sacrifice. To escape the circle requires awareness, courage, and deliberate action. The first step is awakening. Awareness is everything. You cannot escape a prison you do not see. Many people live in denial, numbing themselves with entertainment, consumption, or distraction, refusing to acknowledge that their life feels repetitive and meaningless. But the moment you admit the truth, that the routine you live is not chosen but imposed, is the moment the first crack appears in the walls around you. Awareness is the seed of freedom. After awareness comes responsibility. It is tempting to blame society, parents, governments, or employers for the trap. And while these forces play a role, the power to change does not lie in complaint. It lies in ownership. The circle weakens when you take responsibility for your choices, your time, your money, your habits. This is frightening because it means admitting that the life you live today is, in some way,
the result of your past decisions. But the same truth is also liberating. If your past decisions created your current reality, then your future decisions can create a different one. The next step is redefining success. As long as you chase the same definitions of success that the system gave you, job titles, salaries, possessions, you remain bound to the race. Escaping requires rewriting the rules. Ask yourself, what do I truly value? What do I want my life to feel like, not just look like? Success might mean freedom of time, the ability to choose your days. It might mean meaningful work, creating something that matters. It might mean living simply, reducing needs rather than increasing obligations. Without redefining success, you may leave one circle only to step into another. Practical steps are essential. Awareness without action becomes frustration. The circle tightens if realization does not lead to movement. Action can begin small, learning to budget, saving even small amounts, cutting unnecessary consumption. Every dollar not spent on status is a brick removed from the wall. Every skill learned outside the workplace is a tool for building independence. Every hour spent on self-education instead of passive distraction is an investment in freedom. Money is a major key too. Debt is one of the strongest chains of the rat race. Mortgages, car loans, credit cards, student debt. These keep people running, unable to stop. Escaping requires breaking free from this cycle of debt and consumption. It does not mean rejecting money, it means mastering it. Instead of working endlessly for money, learn to make money work for you. This may be through investing, creating income streams, building a business, or developing skills that allow you to work on your own terms. Financial literacy is not just knowledge, it is a weapon against captivity. Time management is equally vital. The rat race thrives on wasted hours, scrolling, binge-watching, distractions that drain life without giving anything back. To escape, time must be reclaimed. Ask yourself, how many hours each week are spent feeding the system and how many are spent building your own life? Redirecting even a fraction of time toward meaningful goals compounds into massive change over years. Freedom is not built in a single leap. It is carved out of consistent, intentional effort. But escaping the circle is not only financial or practical, it is deeply psychological. The system thrives on fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being different, fear of instability. These fears keep people compliant even when they are unhappy. To break free requires courage to stand apart, to accept criticism, to embrace uncertainty. You must learn to tolerate risk, to step into the unknown without guarantee. True freedom does not come from security, but from resilience, the confidence that no matter what happens, you can adapt and survive. Equally important is community. Escaping alone is possible, but difficult. The majority will not understand your choices. Friends and family may resist, interpreting your decision to leave the race as irresponsible or strange. But there are others who are also waking up, others who are building lives outside the circle. Finding them through books, groups, mentors, or networks provides strength, encouragement, and proof that another way is possible. Escaping does not mean instant paradise. It is not about quitting your job overnight or fleeing responsibilities without preparation. It is about shifting gradually, step by step, from dependence to independence, from reaction to creation. The circle does not break all at once. It unravels with every conscious choice, every new skill, every debt paid, every boundary set. Freedom is not a destination you arrive at suddenly. It is the path you walk every day. The most powerful tool for escape is vision. Without vision, action fades. Without vision, the comfort of the old cycle will pull you back. Vision means seeing clearly what you want your life to become and holding on to that picture through doubt, setbacks, and struggle. Vision is what transforms sacrifice into investment, what makes discomfort bearable, what turns the unknown into possibility. And here lies the paradox. The rat race convinces people that freedom is dangerous, that safety is found in conformity. Yet the real danger is in staying trapped, spending years, decades running in circles, waiting for a finish line that never comes. The true risk is not in leaving, but in never leaving. The system already demands your time, your energy, your life. The question is not whether you will sacrifice, but what you will sacrifice for. Will you sacrifice your freedom to remain in comfort, or sacrifice your comfort to gain freedom? Escaping the circle is possible. People have done it and continue to do it. They are not superhuman. They are simply those who refuse to accept the illusion as final. They chose awareness over denial, responsibility over blame, vision over conformity, action over paralysis. They built lives on their own terms, lives where mornings are filled not with dread but with purpose. Their example is proof that the walls of the circle are not unbreakable. They are only as strong as the belief that they cannot be escaped. So the question becomes, will you continue running the race, mistaking exhaustion for progress? Or will you slow down, look around, and recognize the cage for what it is? The circle is waiting. The choice is yours. Freedom begins not tomorrow, not someday, but the moment you decide to step off the track and start building a different life.
What does life look like once the circle is broken? For most people still running inside the rat race, the idea of life outside feels distant, abstract, even impossible. They imagine freedom as a vague dream like winning the lottery or suddenly stumbling into paradise. But the reality of life beyond the circle is not about sudden miracles. It is about gradual transformation. It is about living with intention, reclaiming time, and reshaping existence around values rather than obligations. It is about finally experiencing what it means to be alive, not in fleeting moments, but as a daily reality. The first change that comes with life outside the circle is time. Time no longer belongs to an alarm clock, a manager, or a corporate schedule. Mornings are not dictated by the shrill ring of necessity, but by the rhythm of your own body and mind. For the first time, waking up can feel natural, unforced, even joyful. Imagine opening your eyes without dread, knowing that the day ahead is yours to shape. That sense of ownership over time is the foundation of true freedom. But time alone is not enough. Life outside the circle also brings presence. Inside the race, moments blur together. Commutes, meetings, deadlines, chores. Outside, moments regain their weight. Eating a meal is no longer rushed, but savored. Conversations are not background noise, but genuine exchanges. Even ordinary activities like walking, reading, or sitting in silence become richer when they're chosen, not forced between obligations. Presence transforms life from a checklist into an experience. Another hallmark of life beyond the circle is creativity. When the constant pressure of survival lifts, the mind is free to explore, to build, to invent. Creativity is not limited to artists or writers. It is the human impulse to shape the world around you. For some, this means starting businesses, building communities, or creating art. For others, it might mean gardening, designing, writing, teaching, or simply approaching daily life with imagination. Creativity flourishes when time and energy are no longer drained by meaningless repetition. Relationships also change profoundly. Inside the race, relationships are often shallow, rushed, or transactional, squeezed into weekends or short evenings after exhausting workdays. Outside, relationships have space to breathe. Time can be given generously to loved ones, not just as leftovers. Friendships deepen when not limited by schedules. Families grow closer when presence replaces absence.
Love thrives when life is no longer reduced to survival. In this way, freedom is not only personal, it extends outward, enriching the lives of those around you. Freedom beyond the circle is also about health. The rat race wears down the body with stress, poor sleep, rushed meals, and sedentary routines. Outside, health can be prioritized without guilt. There is time to cook real food, to move the body, to rest when needed. Health stops being an afterthought and becomes part of living fully. Physical strength, mental clarity, and emotional balance are no longer luxuries squeezed into spare time, but central to daily life. And then there is purpose. Life inside the race often leaves people with a quiet emptiness, a sense that all their running is for nothing. Outside, purpose emerges, not from external approval or financial necessity, but from within. Purpose might be found in service, in creating something valuable, in pursuing passions, in exploring, in learning. It looks different for everyone, but the common thread is this: purpose is chosen, not assigned. It gives meaning to effort and direction to freedom. Financial independence also plays a role in life beyond the circle, but not in the way many imagine. It is not about luxury or constant leisure, it is about choice. The ability to decide when and how to work. The freedom to say no to toxic environments. The power to align income with values. For some, it means building wealth. For others, it means living simply and needing less. The form may differ, but the essence is the same. Money becomes a tool, not a master. Of course, life outside the circle is not without challenges. Freedom does not erase hardship. Risks still exist. Failures still happen. Uncertainty still arises, but the difference is in how these challenges are faced. Inside the race, struggles feel meaningless, endured only for a paycheck. Outside, struggles become part of a larger journey, endured for growth, for creation, for purpose. The same energy once wasted on survival is now invested in building a life worth living. Another key difference is alignment. Inside the race, people often live split lives. Their values say one thing, but their actions say another. They may value family, but spend most hours away from them. They may value health, but neglect it under stress. They may value freedom, but remain tied to obligations. Outside the circle, values and actions align. Life feels consistent, authentic, whole. This alignment creates peace, a quiet strength that no paycheck can provide. Life beyond the circle is not perfection. It is not a flawless utopia. It is still life, with its ups and downs, joys and sorrows, but it is real. It is lived on your terms, not dictated by invisible chains, and that makes all the difference. Even pain feels different when chosen rather than imposed. Even failure feels different when it serves a vision you believe in. For those still inside, the question often arises, what does freedom really feel like? The answer is subtle. Freedom feels like waking up excited instead of exhausted. It feels like spending time with people you love, not just coworkers you tolerate. It feels like having energy at the end of the day, not just at the beginning. It feels like progress measured not in promotions or possessions, but in growth, connection, and joy. Freedom feels like being alive again. Perhaps the greatest gift of life beyond the circle is possibility. The circle narrows life into predictable patterns. Outside, the horizon opens. Possibility means you can change paths, explore, reinvent yourself without asking permission. It means your life is not locked into one script. It means you can dream bigger, try bolder, fail braver. Possibility is the antidote to stagnation. And so life beyond the circle is not fantasy, it is choice. It is built one decision at a time, one risk at a time, one act of courage at a time. It is fragile at first, but it grows stronger as you live it. Each day outside makes it harder to return inside. Each taste of freedom makes the old circle less tolerable. Over time, the cage loses its power and the race becomes a distant memory. This is what waits on the other side. Time reclaimed, presence restored, relationships deepened, health renewed, purpose discovered, freedom embraced. Life beyond the circle is not easier, but it is truer. And in the end, truth is what we are all seeking, not the illusion of choice, not the comfort of repetition, but the raw, vibrant reality of a life lived fully, freely, and intentionally.